You're just incredible. Every time I think I've seen the best of you, you reveal another layer of beauty within. You're just incredible. You make healing look like a form of art only the brave can master. You're just incredible. You don't just walk through storms, you dance in them like they were made for you. You're just incredible. I don't know how you carry so much pain and still manage to love so purely. You're just incredible. You turn every scar into a masterpiece of survival and grace. You're just incredible. There's something in your silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. You're just incredible. You remind me that softness isn't weakness. It's a sign of divine power. You're just incredible. Even your smallest gestures hold the warmth of 1,000 suns. You're just incredible. You make me believe that love, when real, doesn't fade. It transforms. You're just incredible. Your energy lingers long after you've left the room, like a gentle echo of peace. You're just incredible. You give without expecting, love without demanding, and that's what makes you rare. You're just incredible. You've faced darkness and still choose to shine. That's true courage. You're just incredible. You see light in people even when they can't see it in themselves. You're just incredible. You're not afraid of depth. You crave the kind of connection that awakens souls. You're just incredible. Every time you smile, it feels like the world remembers what love feels like. You're just incredible. You've turned heartbreak into a melody that still makes hearts tremble. You're just incredible. Your love doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, and that's its power. You're just incredible. You don't follow trends, you follow truth, and that's timeless. You're just incredible. You've mastered the balance between being gentle and unshakably strong. You're just incredible. Your existence alone reminds me that miracles don't always announce themselves. You're just incredible. You speak the language of souls without ever needing to raise your voice. You're just incredible. You've built peace inside you while the world was busy falling apart. You're just incredible. The world is lucky to have a heart like yours beating among chaos. You're just incredible. Even when you're quiet, your energy speaks volumes of strength and serenity. You're just incredible. You've turned your loneliness into lessons that now light the path for others. You're just incredible. Every version of you, wounded, healing, glowing is breathtakingly real. You're just incredible. You give meaning to moments others would overlook completely. You're just incredible. The way you forgive, even when you're not asked to, is divine. You're just incredible. You carry love like armor, yet it never weighs you down. You're just incredible. You make people want to become better, not because you ask them to, but because you inspire them to. You're just incredible. You've seen endings, yet you still believe in beginnings. That's faith. You're just incredible. You don't just exist. You leave an imprint on every soul you touch. You're just incredible. You've learned to let go without losing love, and that's sacred wisdom. You're just incredible. You turn every goodbye into a silent blessing, not a wound. You're just incredible. You love deeply, even when the world tells you to hold back. You're just incredible. You've become the calm people search for their whole lives. You're just incredible. You don't chase what's fleeting. You honor what's real. You're just incredible. Your silence feels like a sanctuary where broken hearts can breathe again. You're just incredible. You see beauty in places others have forgotten to look. You're just incredible. You've turned your pain into light that now guides others through theirs. You're just incredible. The way you look at people makes them feel seen in ways they never have before. You're just incredible. You don't need validation. Your presence already proves your worth. You're just incredible. You've made peace with your shadows and learned to dance with them. You're just incredible. You love like it's your purpose, not your weakness. You're just incredible. You've built a kingdom inside your soul that no heartbreak can destroy. You're just incredible. You're not afraid to feel, and that's your greatest strength. You're just incredible. You remind people that love can still be safe, even after pain. You're just incredible. You're proof that softness can conquer everything hardness couldn't. You're just incredible. You're not just healing, you're teaching others how to rise with grace. You're just incredible. You move with purpose, even when no one's watching, and that's character. You're just incredible. You turn ordinary moments into sacred experiences. You're just incredible. The way you love, heal, and still believe in magic after everything you've been through. It's unreal. You're just incredible. Even when life tried to break you, you kept building yourself from the ruins with grace. You're just incredible. You don't even see how your quiet presence changes the whole atmosphere around you. You're just incredible. Every time I watch you, I realize how effortlessly you make strength look like poetry. You're just incredible. You make the impossible feel reachable and the broken parts of me feel like they were meant to exist. You're just incredible. There's something divine about your soul that words could never capture fully. You're just incredible. I still can't understand how someone like you exists in a world like this. You're just incredible. You carry storms inside you, yet all I feel when I'm near you is peace. You're just incredible. You've turned pain into power and heartbreak into art without even trying. You're just incredible. Even silence feels meaningful when it's shared with you. You're just incredible. You don't have to prove your worth. Your energy already says everything. You're just incredible. You've mastered the rare art of being strong without losing your softness. You're just incredible. Every glance, every word, every heartbeat feels like a message from the universe. You're just incredible. You don't try to be perfect, and that's exactly why you're unforgettable. You're just incredible. You remind me that love doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. You're just incredible. You walk through chaos like it's choreography written just for your soul. You're just incredible. You don't chase attention, you attract it through pure authenticity. You're just incredible. I've never met someone who could heal others just by being themselves. You're just incredible. You have that rare kind of beauty that doesn't fade, it evolves. You're just incredible. You've survived things that would have destroyed others, and you did it with grace. You're just incredible. Your existence is a love letter to resilience, strength, and silent power. You're just incredible. Every time you smile, you rewrite what hope feels like. You're just incredible. You make people believe in love again without even realizing it. You're just incredible. You make me feel things I thought I had buried long ago. You're just incredible. I've seen the way people change when they feel your presence. It's almost spiritual. You're just incredible. You carry a quiet wisdom that speaks louder than words ever could. You're just incredible. Even when you're broken, you still shine brighter than most. You're just incredible. You remind me that real beauty comes from how you treat others. You're just incredible. I can't help but think the universe took extra time creating you. You're just incredible. You make vulnerability look like the highest form of strength. You're just incredible. I've never known anyone who can love so deeply without fear. You're just incredible. You make ordinary moments feel like sacred rituals. You're just incredible. I can feel your light even in your darkness. It's mesmerizing. You're just incredible. Every scar you carry tells a story of survival and grace. You're just incredible. You've turned your pain into poetry that speaks to souls. You're just incredible. You remind people that love can still be pure in a corrupted world. You're just incredible. There's a gravity to you. People can't help but orbit around your energy. You're just incredible. The way you love, forgive, and keep going, it's beyond human. You're just incredible. You radiate strength that doesn't intimidate. It inspires. You're just incredible. You're not chasing perfection. You're embracing authenticity, and that's rare. You're just incredible. Every time you enter a room, you bring a new frequency of calm. You're just incredible. Your energy feels like home, even when everything else feels uncertain. You're just incredible. You've built peace out of chaos, and that's a divine skill. You're just incredible. You see beauty where others only see flaws, and that's what makes you special. You're just incredible. You've become the kind of person you once needed, and that's strength. You're just incredible. Your kindness leaves marks that time can't erase. You're just incredible. You make me realize that love isn't something to find, it's something to become. You're just incredible. You don't talk about your magic, you simply live it. You're just incredible. You've made people believe in goodness again, just by being yourself. You're just incredible. I don't think you understand how deeply your light touches others. You're just incredible. You've mastered the art of loving without losing yourself. You're just incredible. Even when you doubt yourself, you inspire everyone around you.